Hello, everyone. Pat Gonzalez along with Jim Paulson for round 2 of the Western Division of the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. And Jim, the Western Series has been every bit as competitive of that in the East.
It really has, Pat, and it's been interesting after round 1 because what we're sitting with is a situation here where Frank Allers, the 4-time champion in the West, is in fact the point leader right now. Whereas Kevin Dowler, this young man has come on like gangbusters, and he won that first race. So it's a little mix of things that are happening here. So many other factors, of course, in the West as well. There's young Wade Lee. There's Frank's teammate, Tony Morris, who's always a threat. Challenging the Western crowd this year out of the East is young Joe Lapsevich. He's hoping to have a good run here. So we got a mix of things that might happen here in round 2.
While the late addition of last year's series champion Trevor Siebert has added fuel to an already very close points battle, Jim.
Isn't that interesting? I think all the drivers found that interesting, too. He's here to take part in the major stock event that's also going on this weekend, Pat. But so Trevor Siebert has said, hey, why don't I give this one a shot? The fact is, this young man has never lost in Calgary. He's won Players GM Event Series, won Formula Atlantic. He's won Sportsman Stock Cars. His buddy Barry Ihaxi has given him the Camaro and said, have a go.
Well, he continued that domination in qualifying by taking the Mohawk Fast Qualifier Award, and of course, with the inverted grid, he's going to be starting 6th. But I think the other regular series drivers have mixed emotions about his participation in this event.
No question, Pat. I think some of them are saying, oh, spoiler, ringer, you know, they've thrown him in just for this. They're worried, I think. But there's another factor here that are saying, hey, Trevor Siebert's here. Finally, we're going to get a chance to beat him.
Well, round 1 of this series was on the road course here at Race City. They run on the banked oval. Now let's take a look at the starting grid.
First running for Big Brothers and Mr. Lube. Out of Eastern Canada comes Joe Lapsevich Jr., determined to concentrate on the West this year.
20th on the starting grid, the 43 car of Langley, British Columbia driver Duncan Anderson. He starts his 2nd season in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series.
Born in Scotland, last year's Rookie of the Year in our Players Limited GM Motorsports Series West, Doug Lorraine.
In the number 2 car will be Michael Diening. Last year he started on the front row here at Calgary. His best finish, an 8, also came here.
Here's a Firebird out of Edmonton, Alberta. In fact, he was 2nd in the rookie standings last year, young Marcus Mahalchin.
The 22 car of Ron Farina starts 16th. He was 19th at the opening round here on the Race City Road course.
Making his rookie appearance on the road course is the brother of Wade Lee out of Calgary, Daisy Lee.
Ken Leslie in the 47 car. He qualified 21st in round 1. A little better here today. He'll be 14th on the grid.
From Edmonton, Alberta, the West Slick 50 man is Cameron Hope. Formula Ford background, ready for the sedans today.
The 12th fastest man, Murray Craig in the 55 car. The veteran driver makes his return to the series after sitting out the 91 campaign.
From Lac La Biche, Alberta comes Ken Staples. He was the best in the West in last year's shootout.
The 10th fastest man in qualifying, Ian McIntosh out of Coquitlam, British Columbia.
Bill Crossos hails from Penticton, British Columbia. His best finish in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series was 5th on this oval last year. He loves the oval.
8th on the starting grid, the number 7 car of Carl Haar. He was 5th in the series a year ago, drives one of the Firebirds.
For Mohawk Oil, Kevin Dowler out of Edmonton, Alberta. Last year, he went dry on this track, and he went today.
6th on the grid, our Mohawk fastest qualifier, Trevor Siebert.
I started racing on the oval. That's where my niche is. I started racing on an oval when I was about 16 years old, and raced competitively there for probably 5 or 6 years before I got into road racing. And so, therefore, I feel a lot more comfortable on the oval. And also the oval that I learned on at home in Williams Lake is a very unique oval. It's shaped like an egg, like a miniature tri-oval. So every corner on it is different. So to learn that track and be good on it and be quick, you know, you have to really hone your driving style. And when you come to Calgary here, it's a perfect geometric oval, and it's really a piece of cake in comparison.
Rick Payne, for his family's Peyton Pools in the Skyline Plaza Hotel, had some overheating problems on the road course here. Should have corrected that. He's ready to race today.
Frank Allers, 4th on the grid. He is the current championship points leader in the West.
Well, to make sure those Motomaster colors new for this year dominate Road 2, here's Tony Morris out of Port Moody, BC.
Todd Nickel makes it to the front row. He was 4th in the series a year ago.
And on the pole, 6th fastest in qualifying. That gives him this front-running position. He's had some great ones in Eastern Canada. And Wade Lee of Calgary wants to impress today.
Wade Lee in the Camaro alongside Todd Nickel in the Firebird. The pre-race activities continue here at Race City Speedway.
The Players Limited GM Motorsport Series is brought to you by GM Motorsport and Players Limited. To Race City Speedway in Calgary, it's round 3 of TSN's coverage of the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series.
Cars rolling out as they prepare to go racing. In behind the Camaro pace car here at Race City Speedway in Calgary, there is Wade Lee and Todd Nickel, the 2 drivers up front.
Here's what happened in 1991 in the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series West. Trevor Siebert, the reigning champion, of course, followed by Kevin Dowler, Wade Lee, Todd Nickel, and Carl Haar was hot last year as well.
The cars rolling behind the pace car down the back straightaway here at Race City. It is a cool and overcast late afternoon. The field rolling through turns 3 and 4.
Well, there was much controversy surrounding the return of Trevor Siebert. Not a regular in the series this year. He was brought back by his buddy Barry
I think
Ahaxi.
we're all professionals, and I think that any of the top drivers that are professionals, I think they like that competition, and I think to have Trevor in it with them, and if they can beat Trevor and go after Trevor, I think that it makes a good series, and it helps the series totally.
Well, I've got mixed feelings about it. I mean, I love Trevor and his parents and all that they've done for motorsport, and I really do. I don't mind. I don't really care. I don't know what he's back for. I wouldn't be. My kid did that in the Honda series, and I pulled him out because of that. I don't think. I mean, if he wins tonight, it's awesome. If he loses, he's a loser. And I personally wouldn't come back. But that's up to Trevor. He's got a ESA ride here this weekend. I think I would have been concentrating on that. But hey, you take every ride you can get. My kid's sitting at home right now driving go-karts, so I'd like to see him in the car. So good luck to Trevor. He'll do a good job of it for Barry Ahaxi.
Well, I didn't really expect him to pass up the oval, so I fully expected him to be here. If I won the oval and he wasn't here, they'd say, yeah, well, Trevor wasn't here, so, you know, if I'm going to win it, I'd like it with Trevor in the field. So, you know, that's fine. The more the merrier, I don't mind.
Trevor's a great driver, and he adds a lot to the series when he comes back here. It's going to be extremely competitive. You know, on the other side, he's probably going to take some points away from a few fellows, so it hurts on that side, but that's okay. We're all professionals. It's good for us.
I don't think he'll create a mess as far as points go. Even if he wins the race, which he's done in the past, he's only going to be racing the one race or maybe 2 races, so he's not going to be up at the top of the point standings in the series anyway. He's going to, take some points away that someone else could have gotten. It might make a difference at the end of the year if someone's behind somebody else by 5 points or something, and that was because Trevor finished 1st or 2nd here, but that's part of racing. It's happened in the East. Ron Fellows once in a while comes in and races the Indies and that kind of thing, and that's just part of it.
I am a bit of a target out there, and I can appreciate that, and I hear it from everybody, especially when we announced that I was racing here. A lot of guys are saying, what are you doing here, and all this kind of stuff. But hey, I'm just another driver out here. I came out here again, and I'll say it over and over again, and this is for every race. When you go out, it's a whole new weekend. You got to start fresh again, and I'm just another one of the guys that is going for first place. I don't have anything given to me. The race certainly isn't. I may be a little more relaxed this weekend than I normally am, but hopefully not too much relaxed. But I don't know. There's a lot of guys out here that are running quick, and they've been running quick the last few years. I've got some good breaks, and they've worked for me. Hopefully I can continue that.
So Trevor Siebert is back. He wants to continue his domination on the oval. Can he pull that one off today, Ben?
Let's take a look at this banked oval at Race City Speedway as we look at Trevor Siebert coming out of turn 4 and up to the start-finish line in front of the main grandstand. Then it's down to the inside to get through turns 1 and 2. Very important to keep your momentum as you accelerate out onto the back straightaway. The drivers run up wide and then drop from the outside down to the inside of turns 3 and 4 and then back to the start-finish line. The field rolling slowly down the back straightaway here at Race City Speedway. They'll be coming around and again looking for the green flag, Jim.
Well, they've got the green, and Wade Lee, I think, is going to have the jump on them coming out of corner 4. Indeed, he's ahead of the pack on the start, Pat.
The charge to turn number 1. Lee, who had that inside starting position, gets the jump on Todd Nichol, and he will lead them off of turn 2 as they work the back straightaway. There is the 88 car of Tony Morris. He'll go inside of Todd Nichol and take over the second place position. So a nice move up from that second row by Tony Morris as he grabs the second place position early. The drivers settling into positions here now as we look at the leader in the STP Camaro, Wade Lee, by about 5 car lengths on the 88 machine of Tony Morris.
Now, Wade Lee, oh, look at this, diving into pit row. We see the man who won round 1 of the road course, Kevin Dowler. He's got a flat already, Pat. He's into pit row.
Tough break for Kevin Dowler. That right front wheel will have to be changed by the crew. This will cost them any chance at a top finish. Let's look at it in replay. There we see contact between Dowler and Trevor Siebert, who just seemed to chop down on Dowler as he was trying to go through on the inside. There's the new Goodyear tire and wheel going on the Dowler Mohawk Camaro.
Most challenging part about the Calgary Oval is probably, I think, on the exit of turn 4. The wall is a little shorter there, it seems. I think the straightaway is a little skinnier there and come to the wall a lot faster. So I think that's the most challenging part, is getting out of 4 quickly.
That was our driver's line insight from Wade Lee discussing the fast way around the oval. It obviously is a little faster, his recommendations, than what Dowler was trying, Pat.
We look at the battle for 4th place. Todd Nichol in the number 6 car leading Rick Payne. And there is Trevor Siebert. He definitely wants to get around these 2 drivers and try to get up there with the lead group. It's still Wade Lee, your leader. But we look at this great 3-way fight that's going on for the 4th place position. There you see some different lines as they go through. Oh, and we've got a problem, Jim, on the back straightaway. There's the 34 car of Joe Lapsevich and number 2, Michael Diening. And we've got a yellow caution flag out here at Race City. There's your leader, Wade Lee, as he'll come to the line. Let's take a look at it on replay. There you see Diening got sideways coming out of the turn and just collected Lapsevich as both drivers go for a spin, but they both now have continued after running off the racetrack. There is Diening and there is Lapsevich in the 34 car. A little bit of body damage to both of those drivers' cars.
Sort of continuing bad luck for young Joe Lapsevich Jr. He's never qualified well on the oval, Pat. Come race time, he usually does begin to perform, but again, the little mistake on Diening's part has certainly affected Joe Lapsevich's run now as we get back to our race leader.
Wade Lee, 79, working his way through turns 3 and 4. In the STP Camaro, he's led here from the start after qualifying 6th fastest, and of course, with the inverted grid, was given that front row inside starting position. Now the green flag is out. We're back racing at Race City Speedway.
He stopped on it there, Pat. There's no question. Wade felt that flag was coming now. I wonder what the teammates can do sitting in 2nd and 3rd place. Are there any games they can play up here? Oh, no. In fact, I think the teammates are about to be attacked.
Well, Todd Nichol is closed right up here on the restart, so it's Wade Lee leading. Tony Morris and Frank Allers in the Motomaster Camaros running 2nd and 3rd. And now Nichol in that number 6 Firebird has closed up. He runs in the 4th place position, coming right with him, Rick Payne and the 33 car of Trevor Siebert. But so far, Wade Lee has turned in an outstanding drive. And now we look at what appears to be a fierce battle for 2nd between the 2 Motomaster teammates. Number 12, Frank Allers, looks like he wants to get around Tony Morris, and Morris may be slowing up Allers as Lee has been able to open up a pretty good gap here on the restart.
Well, these 2 were very impressive on the road course first run this year, and it is in fact Allers ahead. He has put Tony Morris down. Tony sitting back in 3rd. Now he has to be the blocking factor, I guess, Pat.
Well, a real scramble for positions here on the restart. There goes Trevor Siebert on the inside of Rick Payne, looking for the 5th place position as they come up across start finish and into turn 1. No, he won't get it. Still side by side as they run off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. Siebert pulls up to the inside of Payne into 3. He's right there as they run wheel to wheel. And just ahead, Nichol, and then Morris, number 88, who may be slowing all 3 of these drivers up as they head back into turn number 1. But there you look at what is now a 4-way fight going on for the 3rd place position. Rick Payne getting very, very wide. And now Siebert trying to put his car right in between Nichol and Payne. And now he's able to go around the outside of Nichol but a real scramble for positions here as Trevor Siebert moves up around Todd Nichol as they go side by side, and he'll pick up the spot.
Well, at least number 6, Todd Nichol, remained cool in all of that because Siebert gave him a little tap. There was all sorts of activity around there. I would say Trevor Siebert now is getting a little aggressive, Ben.
Very, very aggressive, and he's not afraid to run either the low or the high line on this racetrack. It's about 2 groups wide, and Siebert has been trying to get around some of these cars on the outside as we look at now the race for the 3rd place position. As they work their way around the racetrack, they're your 1st and 2nd place cars. 79 Wade Lee just ahead of Frank Allers, and Allers has really chopped into the lead of Wade Lee, and now we go on board the Wade Lee SDP Camaro. Looking back at the 2nd place driver, Frank Allers, you can see completely different lines as they work their way around the racetrack.
Do I detect a similar driving style with Frank Allers and Siebert? They seem to bob back and forth to the left and right, Pat. They're very determined to pass anyone in front.
Well, what we've seen here so far is that both Allers and Siebert not afraid to run either the low or the high groove. As we see a little bit further back, that battle that's going on for 3rd, but up front, we're right in the thick of this race between Wade Lee and Frank Allers, just a half a car length apart as they head back into turns 1 and 2. And Wade Lee right now is just trying to hang on, and his rear view mirror's got to be filled with that black Motormaster Camaro, and he's definitely being a little bit rattled by the attempts here by Allers. Now we look back at the race for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Moving up there, the 7 car of Carl Haar, and there goes Trevor Siebert, number 33. He has moved up into the 4th place position.
Nice move into 4th. Rick Payne got a little too high, I think, on that pass, and now, in fact, is being challenged by Carl Haar.
Haar moving down to the inside. Payne getting a little wide into that turn. He left the door open, and there goes Carl Haar. He'll take over the spot, and there goes Siebert on the inside of Tony Morris. He continues his march up to the front. He's up into the 3rd place spot and pulling away. So Trevor Siebert, the master of the oval here at Calgary, and here comes Carl Haar. He wants that 4th place position from Tony Morris as they work their way back to the start-finish line. Morris, who had moved up into 2nd early, now starting to slide backwards through the running order. And now Carl Haar in that number 7 Firebird is all over him. Here is Allers on the inside of Wade Lee. He'll take the lead. A superb pass there by Allers as finally he is able to push that Motormaster Camaro to the front. And again, Wade Lee got a little bit wide in the turn, and Allers was there for the lead.
15 laps down. Frank Allers now the race leader, followed by Wade Lee, Trevor Siebert, Tony Morris, Carl Haar. A great fight. We'll be back. Round 3 of TSN's Players Limited GM Motorsport Series in the 2nd round in Calgary, Alberta, this time on the oval.
Frank Allers in the Motormaster Camaro leading the 79 car of Wade Lee. Lee had led for the better part of the early part of this event. There you see Allers challenging for the lead as they go into turn 3. A little bit of a tap there as the 2 drivers touch. Lee drifts out wide, and Allers is able to go through on the inside to take the lead. And now those 2 drivers battling just about a car length apart. Frank Allers, your leader, Wade Lee in 2nd. There's the gap back to Trevor Siebert in 3rd. And Tony Morris, number 88, holding on, but just barely to that 4th place position, Jim, because Carl Haar in this Firebird has continued to put the pressure on him, and I think it may be only a matter of laps before Haar is able to get around Tony Morris.
Tony Morris has really been challenged here. Carl Haar and Tony, in fact, have already put in a couple of runs out in Eastern Canada, so these 2 guys are hot, but for both of them, first time on the oval this year. I don't think Tony likes the oval. Carl seems a little bit more at home here, a little more confident.
Well, Carl, very aggressive. He's trying different lines, different exit points out of the turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 combinations. There's that battle that rages for the 4th place position. Tony Morris and Carl Haar. Morris in the Camaro, Haar in the Firebird. And again, we look a little bit back of that pair, and the race now for 6th and 7th. Rick Payne in the blue and white car right behind him. Todd Nichol in that yellow and white Firebird. He did start on the front row, but now has dropped back and run 7th on the racetrack. So some great racing all the way through the top 10. They're coming up here now to lap Duncan Anderson in the 43 car as they will go around him on the outside, as does Payne and Nichol. And in trying to get around Anderson, what was a couple of separate two-car battles now becomes a four-way fight for the fourth place position as they work it down the back straightaway here at Race City Speedway. But there is Carl Haar continuing to put the pressure on Tony Morris in the number 88 Motormaster Camaro.
Well, it's a 100-lap run, and here rather early, in fact, is Frank Allers now dealing with traffic. That's Doug Lorraine, the reigning Rookie of the Year, that Allers comes by safely, and now Wade Lee will have a go.
While up across the start-finish line, there you can see the gap. It's about 6, maybe 7 car lengths between Allers and the second-place driver, Wade Lee, but less than that, about half a car length as Trevor Siebert continues to make his charge to the front. They'll go inside of Doug Lorraine, who is very courteous. He just moves off of the racing line, and both Wade Lee and Trevor Siebert go through, but Siebert is definitely closing here on Lee. And again, Siebert appears to be able to put that race car either down to the bottom groove or run it up high and pretty much run anywhere on the racetrack he wants to. And here he is again, right down to the bottom of the racetrack. Wade Lee a little bit higher up as they come out of turn 4 and back across the start-finish line. So Wade Lee, who was pressured for several laps by Frank Allers and then finally was passed with a little bit of a tap as they went into turn 3, now finds himself coming under pressure here from Trevor Siebert.
Got the feeling Trevor got even higher up on the track with the intent of sort of slingshotting down and maybe catching up on Wade Lee. Now again he bobs to the inside. The thing I think we note here as we look from Wade Lee's car is Wade seems to set a line. He follows that. Siebert and Allers don't. They're ready to bob around.
While Trevor Siebert seems to just carry a little bit more momentum into turns 3 and into turn 1 as he comes off of the straightaways here at the Race City Speedway Oval and closes right up on Wade Lee. And of course he's looking for any kind of an opening if Lee was to get into the corner with a little bit too much speed, drift up from that inside line, but Lee holding the bottom groove, and Siebert continues to try to chase him down. But again, Siebert right there with him, and he's trying to find a way to get around this number 79 STP Camaro. Meanwhile, Allers up front leads, followed by Wade Lee on the inside. Again, Siebert looked for the opening. It wasn't there. Now Lee drifts up a little wide. He may have got in too hot. Siebert right up alongside. They'll run wheel to wheel as they head up again. Siebert now right up alongside of Wade Lee, and he'll take over that second place position. Lee gave Siebert the opening. He was right there, pounced on the opportunity, and now has worked that number 33 Camaro up into the second place position. Wade Lee trying to battle back on the outside, but just cannot get back around. And Siebert, who started 6th after being the fastest man in qualifying, has worked his way up into the second place spot.
Well, Trevor Siebert has certainly shown his buddy Barry Ihaxi that this car can run when the right man is at the wheel. We had seen this car perform at the Grand Prix weekend in Montreal in the Eastern Series, and he was running fairly well back. I tell you, Trevor is trying to bring this in front.
At the second place driver, number 33, Trevor Siebert, as he continues to close. Siebert in traffic. He'll move to the inside of the 43 car of Duncan Anderson. And just ahead of him, Kent Staples will also move off the racing line as Siebert goes through. He continues to work traffic around the racetrack, trying to chase down the leader, Frank Allers, in a number 12 Camaro. Allers had a commanding lead, but now Siebert is starting to cut into that lead after getting around Wade Lee a few laps earlier. And this one looks as though it may come down to a battle between Allers and Siebert.
There's rookie Daisy Lee running his first race. He is currently 15th overall with the Pennzoil entry and would hope, of course, to pick up the Rookie of the Year honors. We'll see how he finishes here today, Pat.
There is Daisy Lee, of course, the younger brother of the current third-place driver, Wade Lee, a little sideways as he may have got on the gas just a little bit too hard. And Daisy Lee, number 39, continues to learn his way around this Calgary Oval. And coming up is the leader, Frank Allers, trying to get around Daisy Lee. Allers will have to go around the outside, and he will, as Lee elected to hold the inside group, but no problem for Allers. And Daisy Lee looking a little bit out of shape there on this Calgary Oval, as Allers, number 12, continues to run up front, but I think he knows that Siebert is coming. Siebert driving very aggressively with an awful lot of confidence. He has won here on this oval before. He has never been beaten. And of course, he'd like to keep that winning streak going. There you can see the difference between the leader, Allers, and Siebert. And Siebert now has also moved around the 39 car of Daisy Leap, and that lead continues to shrink as they come back to the start-finish line. Allers and Siebert appears to be the race right now.
Well, Daisy up there at the top of the screen is kind of learning. He seems very tentative on this course, but boy, these people are not tentative. Allers knows this track, he's attacking, and this man, Trevor Siebert, number 33, says, oh no, my streak is not going to end on this oval in Calgary, and now they're coming up on traffic. It may work to Trevor's advantage, Pat.
Here comes Allers. He's going to hit some more traffic. Trevor Siebert appears to be using every inch of this racetrack. He's trying to keep as much momentum going, and because he's doing that, you can see he's able to, as he accelerates off of the turns, he's going right to the outside to within about a foot of the outside concrete retaining wall, and he is closing on Frank Allers. It was about 15, maybe 16 car lengths just a couple of laps ago, and now as they work through traffic, Siebert has closed that down to about 8 or 9 car lengths. And again, the leaders continue to work some heavy, slower traffic around this racetrack. There is Allers in the number 12 black Camaro, and there is the 33 car of Trevor Siebert. And again, Siebert just carving his way inside, outside of some of these slower cars as he runs around the racetrack, and he has lapped Cameron Hope in that number 19 Camaro.
I think Cameron was wise enough just to sort of stay out of the way, and what we're spotting so far is Siebert is in fact gaining on Allers here in this traffic situation. Now, Frank is held up one more time. Not a major holdup, Pat, by any means, but it does give Trevor a little advantage here.
Frank Allers, the race leader, up across the start-finish line. He continues to look in his rear-view mirror and see nothing but that white Camaro of number 33, Trevor Siebert. Now we look a little bit further back. This is the battle for fourth. Rick Payne in that blue and white 75 Camaro, and right behind him, number 7, is Carl Haar in the black Firebird. They have been running this close together for about 24 laps now, and Haar not able to get around the 75 car of Payne, and they'll be coming up on some slower traffic themselves in just a moment. They'll be lapping the 22 car of Ron Farina, and there goes Payne a little bit wide as he came off of that turn, and we've got a problem. Car spinning. I believe that is the 43 car of Duncan Anderson, who spun right off the racetrack. As we look back at the lead battle, Trevor Siebert now less than a car length back of Frank Allers. He'll try him on the outside as they try to get around Joe Lapcevich. Lapcevich moves outside and will allow Allers and Siebert down to the inside as they come into turn 1. There is 34.
Oh, in fact, he rides high on the track, so they're scaring young Joe Lapcevich off. But I'm wondering how defensive Frank Allers is going to be here, Pat. Let's remember, for Trevor Siebert, it's a one-shot effort here at Race City Speedway in Calgary. He's come in, wants to carry on his streak, and our mid-race leader, of course, winning those marvelous Goodyear Eagle tires, remains Frank Allers at the halfway point.
Siebert, number 33, right around Joe Lapcevich now as they head down the back straightaway here at Race City as we look at the running order. But up front, a terrific battle between these two drivers. I believe, Jim, as you said, Frank Allers may be a little bit more concerned about the championship and picking up some pretty good points here in round 2. He knows this will probably be a one-shot deal for Trevor Siebert, and they will not see him again in the Western Series this year. So I'm not sure just how aggressive Allers will be in trying to fend off Trevor Siebert, as now it's down to just half a car length as they come up across start-finish. And again, there you see Siebert using every inch of the racetrack, and he'll try him on the high line off of turn number 2 as they head down the back straightaway. Side by side, Siebert up to the high side, Allers right down to the bottom of the racetrack. And again, Siebert not afraid to put that car pretty much anywhere on the racetrack.
Yeah, they don't even seem to bobble, Pat, whether it's high or low. But look, Frank Allers is determined. He wants to keep that lower inside track, and he'll do what he can. But again, they're coming up on traffic. It may affect what's happening here.
Just a half a car length between Frank Allers and the 33 car of Trevor Siebert. And again, Siebert looking for a way. He looks down on the inside as he tries to nose the front of that Camaro on the inside of Allers, who just shuts the door. So Frank Allers, although his thinking maybe more of the championship, certainly is going to do all he can to try to hold off Trevor Siebert.
Well, after 53 laps, Frank Allers still the race leader. Trevor Siebert in second, then Wade Lee, Rick Payne, Todd Nichol will be right back. Calgary, Alberta, it's Race City Speedway in Calgary, and racing they are. Frank Allers in front and Siebert all over him.
Trevor Siebert right on the rear bumper of Frank Allers. Here goes Siebert trying the outside entry into the corner, and he'll close right up on Allers. Some of the slower cars there moving out of the way. Ken Leslie drifts up high to allow Allers and Siebert by as they head back. Here comes Siebert down to the inside. Oh, and the two drivers just about touched. But now as they head out onto the back straightaway, Allers is able to pull it up by a few more car lengths, and Siebert will have to gather it back up, and he just appears to be able to carry more momentum off of the short straightaways and in to the corners. And again, he has closed it back up on Frank Allers, and Allers has got about 4 slower cars ahead of him. He'll have to pick his way through that pack, and now they come up on the 35 car of Kevin Dowler. Dowler had that flat tire in the early going. They've repaired the car, and he's back out there trying to climb up through the running order, currently shown in the 9th place spot.
And Kevin Dowler has had a great comeback following the flat tire earlier. Now fought his way back up to 9th, and in fact, Kevin Dowler will be the subject of today's profile. Kevin Dowler exemplifies one of the new generation of drivers who understands the importance of marketability.
This is our 3rd year with Mohawk Oil and Fountain Tire. It's quite a program we've got together now. It's not only just the race program. We've got store incentives and customer appreciation days that we all link together to make this program a whole.
No, this is mine. I'm Kevin Dowler. I race the Mohawk Oil.
All right, Kevin.
Hi, and your name is? Rod Forsyth. Hi, Rod. You just won $10 worth of Mohawk gasoline for dropping by today.
That's great.
Thank you.
Also, so you get a gas certificate. Congratulations.
All right. What's your name?
Thanks, Karen.
Congratulations, Karen. You just won $10 worth of gas.
Thanks a lot.
You know, we qualified 6th. We started on the pole. We led the race for a couple laps. We had terrible changing weather conditions. We had the car set up for a dry racetrack, and it turned to wet, and then it turned to snow, and it was really entertaining. The fans loved it. We were running 3rd. We went off with, I don't know, a lap to go in the one of the downpours somewhere on the track, but I was really happy with it. Got the crew real pumped, and we're looking forward to hopefully running for the championship this year in the West.
And what might the future hold for Kevin Dowler?
I'd like to follow the steps of Trevor Siebert. He's a good friend of mine, and the route he went is pretty impressive. I kind of prefer running the ASA cars. I ran the Players Limited 500 last year and had moderate success. Being able to compete with these drivers is a big deal right there. The Players GM Motorsports Series, though, is by far the best stepping stone for a young driver to get to where he wants to go with his racing career. There's no other series that I can think of that gives you this kind of exposure and this kind of prize money.
Kevin Dowler doing a marvelous job for Mohawk in Eastern Canada as well as the West in 1992, Matt.
Well, Dowler right now is right in the middle of the lead battle as his friend Trevor Siebert rolls right up on his rear bumper. Up to the outside is Frank Allers, and Allers getting hung up in back with the 28 car of Mahalshin, and Siebert, number 33, will take the lead. So Allers having all kinds of problems getting around the slower traffic. Siebert was right in back of Dowler, and I'm not sure if there may not have been a little bit of friendly team tactics there for a while, not an official team, but Dowler perhaps helping out his friend Trevor Siebert as he held the inside line and was able to play a part in that lead pass, or the pass for the lead by Trevor Siebert. Now we look a little bit further back. Carl Haar in the Apple Computers Firebird has been having a tremendous battle with the white and blue 75 car of Rick Payne. There's Rick Payne holding on to 4th, but Carl Haar in car number 7 is all over him, and this has been a race that's been raging for several laps now, and Rick Payne managing to just barely hold on to that fourth place position.
Car number 3, Ken Staples, he's now at the back of all that, but he was wise enough to pretty well stay out of the way and let the crowd come steaming through. Again, it's been amazing with the Rick Payne car. He had a lot of overheating problems on the road course. What he did, Pat, is he has changed the radiator on the car, and it appears to be running much better for him in round 2 here on the oval.
Well, Rick Payne in the Peyton Pools Camaro knows that every position here will pay a few more points in the second round in the Western Series, a very pivotal one. And we look at this great race that continues to rage between the 75 car of Rick Payne and right behind him, number 7, Carl Haar, as they have been no more than a couple of car lengths apart now for several laps. But again, well back of the leader, Trevor Siebert.
Interesting watching Carl Haar, the number 7 Firebird, the Apple computer, Ron Hodgson entry, and Rick Payne just ahead of him. These two have had some marvelous dices going a little earlier in the race, but now as we get later into the event, they seem to have settled in a little bit just within each other. I'll tell you, one little error, and look out because Haar will be ready to fly.
Well, Carl Haar may be waiting for some kind of a slight miscue by Rick Payne, but Payne's had a pretty steady drive so far as they run just about half a car length apart. Rick Payne in the 75 car, your fourth place driver, right behind him in that Apple Computers Firebird, number 7, Carl Haar.
Infotech. Let's check the suspension systems in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. One of the few adjustments or changes that drivers can make to their race cars is the suspension. Depending on the conditions, circuit, and driving style, drivers can adjust cars.
The cars were built for street courses, you can imagine. In fact, they were built really for the highway, and it's a big stress on them on the oval. But we try to make the best of it, and there is some adjustments allowed in the car. And really, what you want to do is to be able to drive the car as you would in a road course, that you put the power on and feel safe.
But finding that exact combination is not easy.
If we find that one setup isn't working, we'll try to, not expecting the opposite to work, but we'll go to the other extreme and see if it improves it at all, or what it does, or if it's not as bad, and then maybe we'll go back and find somewhere in the middle. But it's hard to really notice. If you just make a little adjustment one way, it's hard to feel. But if you go sort of radical with it, you can feel if you're going in the right direction anyway.
But Trevor Siebert has some advice.
But the other thing that they do too is they start chasing what I call chasing the car a little bit too much. They look for setup, they look for this, they look for that. They change their line. Every second lap they're doing a different line. Therefore they can't learn the track. I say, look, pick something that works for you and stick with it. And that's all I've ever done.
Infotech offering thoughts on these suspensions. They seem to be working well at Race City in Calgary, Pat.
Well, right now, Trevor Siebert, as they move around the number 6 car there of Todd Nickel. Nickel, who started in the front row, but he has faded after running up in the lead pack early. And Siebert right now with about a 3, maybe 4 car length lead over Frank Allers, but he appears to be slowly inching away from that black Motormaster Camaro of Frank Allers. Siebert just making a very calculated but an aggressive run up through the field after being our fastest qualifier, starting back there in the 6th position because of the inverted grid. But he has really had a marvelous run up through the field and has had no problem at all getting around some of the lap traffic here. And I think one of those reasons is that he does have that car set up very, very well. He's able to run it either up in the high or the low groove. As now we look back to the 3rd place driver, Wade Lee, who started on the pole position. He runs all by himself in 3rd, although at the moment running in and amongst some of the slower cars as he continues to lap the slower cars on the racetrack.
Well, he gets by Marcus Mahalchin, number 28, the young man out of Edmonton, Alberta. The fact is the race leaders are not back, and the man hanging on to Wade Lee here at this stage is young Joe Lapsevich Jr. as well. He's just a breath back, but the race leaders are not far off. Look out. Allers looking to put a lap down on Wade Lee if he can shortly.
Wade Lee in that 79 car, very careful to get around the lap traffic. And now, as we look at the leaders, there you can see the difference, about maybe 3 car lengths between Trevor Siebert and Frank Allers. Again, Allers maybe thinking more about his 5th Players Limited GM Motorsports Series West Championship than try to go out there and bang metal with the 33 car here of Trevor Siebert. There is Wade Lee. Oh, Wade Lee got into it there with, I believe, the 43 car of Duncan Anderson as he tried to go around on the outside. Anderson moved up a groove and tapped the left side of Wade Lee's car, and he was lucky not to spin up into the wall. Wade Lee running by himself in that third place position, and his race just very well could have ended right there.
Actually, Ian McIntosh, number 24, just managed to make. I don't think that he was sure which way to go. The whole field were kind of all over him there, but at least they all got by safely.
Some of the other cars continue to run out there. There is Michael Deaning in the 2 car just behind Cameron Hope in the number 19. Each one of these drivers, although they're not running on the lead lap, are battling for position and, of course, points in the second round of the Western Series. Your race leader, 33, Trevor Siebert, up across the start finish. Again, the man who has never lost on this Calgary Oval, and right now he runs up front and continues to pull away ever so slightly from the second place driver, Frank Allers.
80 laps gone, 20 to go. Trevor Siebert in front, Frank Allers trying hard to catch up, and we'll be right back. Back to Calgary's Race City Speedway, and this is going to be a wild finish with Siebert still in front.
Well, we approach the 100-lap total distance here at Race City Speedway. There's your leader, Trevor Siebert, and what a superb run he has had here on the oval, trying to keep his unbeaten string intact. There he heads off, and you can see the margin now is about maybe 12 car lengths between Trevor Siebert and Frank Allers, and I think right now Allers content in that second place position. This will maintain his points lead that he took out of that opening round, and of course this may be Trevor Siebert's only appearance in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series West Division, as Siebert now continues to work his way up onto some of the slower cars, but has not had a problem getting around the slower cars here on the oval, because they've really had that number 33 Camaro working beautifully. There you see Allers sitting back in the second place position. Siebert would have to make a major mistake, I think, Jim.
And look at the White Knight. Yes, he's got a little traffic to deal with here in the form of Bill Grassos, number 27, and of course our old buddy Murray Craig, who's back racing, by the way, in 1992. Good to have Murray back, but our leader's about to get by. And look at the stealth bomber. I tell you, look out, Frank Allers is still not too far away from our race leader.
Trevor Siebert on the inside of Murray Craig in the clearly Canadian Firebird. And now it is Frank Allers who will try to get around the 55 car there. Murray Craig into turn 3. Oh, and Craig just slams the door shut on Allers as he tried to close right up on the leader, 33, Trevor Siebert. And now on the inside as they go through there. And again, Craig slams the door shut finally on the inside. Allers is able to get through, but that may not be enough. There is Allers, number 12, going through on the inside, but there out of the final turn, checkered flag is out at the line. Here comes Trevor Siebert to the stripe. He will win it. Frank Allers, a close second.
Well, Bill Grassos, one of the back markers, actually not that far back, I might point out, taking our leader across the finish line. There's the champion, Trevor Siebert, still unbeaten in Calgary on the oval.
It's really tough to win from 6th, or anywhere back there. But I think we proved that today. But we certainly had a tough time catching Frank. I mean, if it wasn't for some of the traffic out there, I don't think I would have caught him. I got some lucky breaks there.
Well, from setting a track record in qualifying to the race victor today, Trevor Siebert dominating again at Race City in Calgary. You want to join us next week? It'll be round 4 from the Molson Indy in Toronto.
Well, the celebration on the podium, there is Trevor Siebert, and a great drive as well, turned in by Wade Lee. He was 6th in qualifying, but a fine third-place finish here today. And Frank Allers, still the man on top of the point standings.
Oh, they are looking forward to taking on the Eastern crowd in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. And you know what, Pat? They may be good in Toronto. This is the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series on TSN. Brought to you by Players Limited. and GM Motorsport.